Okay, so welcome to another epic adventure at Weaver Stonehouse Farms. I'll show you the outside of our maple reverse osmosis setup. Tank here, and off the tank we have our water filter strainer, which does a really good job. And then going over to a 1 horsepower Harbor Freight pump. I have the pressure set at about 60 psi. That's 1-inch hose. And then I have 1-inch hose adapted to the top of that, but I used a 3/4 inch hose coupling to make it easier. That's going to add some restriction, but I'm still getting 60 psi inside. So, outside here with our water, so you can see our reject flow, which is actually a sugar flow that we wanted. And then as we tested this, so this is the stuff we just ran for the first time. So we'll run it again, and this is a brix checker for checking the sugar.
Sap hydrometer.
It's a what?
A sap hydrometer.
Sap hydrometer for checking the actual brix. So yeah, sweet.
Okay, so we just finished our first run through the RO system. We had started with 150 gallons, and we're gonna call that about 90 gallons. It took just an hour to run that the first time.
150's up there.
150's here.
And we're in the middle, so.
Yeah, it's about 90 gallons. So we're gonna run it again to see if we can get it, knocked down a little bit more.
And our tested sugar content was?
We were like at 3.5. So.
Okay, after running through the RO,
After
starting
running
off.
through the RO. Starting off, probably around 2.
Okay, sweet. All right, let's take a walk through the used RO system that we have set up in the basement. So that blue hose coming in, that's one inch hose that you saw outside off the pump. That black hose I'm pointing to, it's teed off. It's going to an old well expansion tank that we had in the basement. That was just fine. I did that to stop the pump from surging because the 1 horsepower pump was surging without expansion. Now there's that 1-inch line going in. It's going to the big filter there. What is it? There it is, 10 by 4.5 inch filter. So it's a large canister, 5 micron filter, pretty important. So it goes into there, and then on the side here you'll see a little button. Push it down, and you want to make sure you get all the air bled out of it because these pumps are really expensive and you don't want them to run dry. So there's that fitting. I had to redo all this because it snapped, cracked, and broke and wouldn't seal. And I needed to take that about one more time. And I'm moving my hand there to bleed it out. So when you first start it up, bleed it, make sure the air's out. So you can follow it going up. And that's going to a solenoid valve. I have that bypass, so whenever I power it comes on, it hits that T and then it comes down. And it goes into the inlet of that B&G pump. So you can see that there's the solenoid goes down and into that pump. So that's your feed pressure going in. So on the back of that, on that T, what I'm pointing to, that is a pressure switch. So I still have the pressure switch engaged, so if the pressure drops on the inlet, it'll shut that pump off. I kept that safety in play. And then you can see that little clear hose going up, that's to a pressure gauge. You can see that right there, and that's going to inlet pressure. So that 1 horsepower pump from Harbor Freight to the inlet of that big pump, I'm getting about 55, 60. You can see that gold booster pump. Now coming off of the bottom of that, it splits and it feeds both of those membranes in parallel. So it goes up, feeds the membranes in parallel, and that water pushes through both of them, and those are 4 by 48 inch membranes. Okay, so the red is the reject, which is actually what we want. You can see that's coming off of each one of those tubes. So they come off and go down individually because they were parallel fed. So they come down, let's see, they're going down, and then they come up. You'll see here, there's the one that's going up. Then there is the other one going up, and they're going to a manifold block. And then the blue, that's actually the reverse osmosis water. Okay, so what you see here, there's a manifold block in here, and I think it's divided in the middle. You can see the red, which is a reject. Then the blue, you can see those blues coming up into there as well, into that manifold on the right-hand side. And then the reds are on the left. You can see I'm pointing to that, and that's that left. Pushing up and out, and then follow along where it goes. It's kind of hard to see, but that is it goes into the clear gauge on the front. There's my blue. So there's the reject. That's where that hose goes up to, where they double together. And it kicks it on out to the tank outside. And then there's a knob on it for the adjustment as well. And then you can see that blue hose, that's the the green hose, that's the RO, the actual reverse osmosis water. So out of that double brass block down there in the bottom, it kicks into that. You can see into the back of it, and it comes out. So I'm trying to get a better shot here so you can see the whole block. So that's where everything gangs together into that termination block, and I think there's a split in the middle of it. And then it feeds up. And then the red is that reject flow, which is our maple, which is what we want. You see we're feeding, we vary in between 50.
That's at about 60 pounds. So feed water pressure is about 60 pounds. System pressure, we're up around 180. Now that takes some tweaking with this valve. So what that is, that's the inlet. So all that T-fitting stuff. So where my water comes in, you'll see that green, it hits across and up above it. That's the pressure switch, but then the feed over, and then it's a crossover. Okay? So then, went ahead, I couldn't get these on, it's half inch, but it's tight. So I put a gate valve in, goes over, because my bypass, my system pressure regulator wasn't working right, so I just have it turned out. And this is my system pressure regulator. Simple, works, easy to adjust. And then what you can see on the back of this is those two red hoses. So what it is, it's a crossover from my red over here. That's on the one side of that split manifold. Comes over, hits this T-fitting, and then pushes and goes into my adjustment here for my reject flow. And then out of the top, my reject is actually my stuff I want. And then that goes out to my sugar. Okay? So this, when I adjust this, right here, this adjusts my system pressure. So I got about 180 pounds. Okay, so then you have to balance these two. You'll see the two little bullets in here. And you balance it off the top. And see, it's pretty close, but it's not going to be exact. So as I adjust this, right here, I'll take this down just a little bit. That's my system pressure. And then I'll take it back up. Okay, back up to 180. Perfect. And my bullets are running about the same. Good. I have just about everything in here bypassed except for the pressure switch. The pressure switch is in there, which I left that on purpose to protect it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm checking my discharge water. And where's my zero? There's my zero. And I have 0% sugar, which is what you want. Perfect. So this thing is taking a little bit of time to learn and adjust, but it's working sweet now. So that used ProPak RO system, it was a learning curve for us. It's not designed for what we were using it for, but it works for it. So it took a little bit of work, but I am so grateful for it. So thank you so much for that used piece of equipment. It was a great find, great deal on it, just quite amazing. So that's definitely a solid piece of equipment that I would recommend to anybody. You know, it takes a learning curve. I will tell you, it absolutely takes a learning curve if you've never had one before, but you know, each batch we got a little better with it, and I learned how to make the adjustments. You know, we were able to go from right around 2, because we have a lot of red maples, and work and get up to like a 4 for our brix content, for our syrup, sugar water content. So that was quite interesting, learning how to do that. And each batch got a little better, and learned how to get the pressure adjusted. And you saw that valve, getting that valve in there and working was helped with that as well. So, and then we did something neat. We did vanilla bean. You can kind of see the bean in there a little bit. And we boiled one of the batches with vanilla bean in it, and then stuck a bean in each one of these jugs. And then our other jugs, we did quart maple jugs for the rest of it. So if you're interested, let us know. We'll work something out. We make enough for us every year, and then if we have some to go ahead, barter or trade, whatever we need to do. So, all right. Hey, like and subscribe and follow along, and we'll see you next time at Weaver Stonehouse Farms. And thanks so much. See ya.